What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Chris Thorns. As always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching my content. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. It is 1:09 my time right now, Central Time, which is I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, so we're on Central Time. And I should be in bed right now, but I got a couple of stories I just want to bring to you that's kind of bothering me. And I think y'all gonna understand why they are bothering me when I hear these stories. As always, the graphics, but I think y'all seen them before. You know what? Without further ado, let's get right into this. Let's just get right into this. All right, guys. First story I want to bring to you would be this one right here. Some of you may have heard this story. This story happened about 3 or 4 days ago. Actor in Idaho, a Rigby Middle School, you had a 6th grader who brought a gun to school and opened fire in the school, wounding individuals. I think it's a total of 3 people she wounded, but I think they are going to be okay. Or they are okay. Now, usually when you hear these stories, what's the first thing come to your mind? You think it'd be a young male do this, but no, this time it was a female that done it. Now, however, of course, y'all know by them being in 6th grade, which means they probably preteen or probably in early teens, and they're not going to release the name or names of the individual that committed the crime. But however, for what I gathered, it's a possibility that this person is going to get charged with murder. Now, are they going to be charged as an adult? Now, that I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But as always, I'm going to let y'all listen to what's going on here. Let me get some things out the way for y'all. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do that. Let me get this out the way for y'all. And let's bring this up. And let's have a listen.
The unthinkable has happened in small-town Idaho. There was a school shooting this morning at Rigby Middle School in southeast Idaho. The heartbreak and trauma we see happen in other states at other schools has now happened close to home. 2 students and a staff member were shot by a 6th grade girl. Miraculously, they were not seriously hurt. And tonight we're learning a heroic teacher helped prevent more people from being shot. Students rushed to evacuate Rigby Middle School after a 6th grade girl opens fire in a hallway at 9:08 this morning. The girl had the handgun in her backpack and fired multiple shots inside and outside the school.
Today we had the worst nightmare a school district could encounter. We had a school shooting here at Rigby Middle School.
2 students and a staff member were shot. Authorities don't know if they were specifically targeted by the shooter.
This incident did start in the hallway, and it moved towards an exit to the east side of the building to the outside where a victim was shot outside.
A teacher heroically stopped the shooter from doing more harm.
During the shooting, a teacher disarmed the student and detained her until law enforcement took her into custody. She did take the handgun from the student and held her until law enforcement apprehended her.
Authorities don't know why the 6th grader did what she did or where she got the gun. They say there were no signs she would pose any danger. Staff and students are being praised for responding exactly how they should have.
Our children in this community have been through the same training multiple times every year. And the response from the law enforcement, but not only that, the response from the school district, the teachers and the students, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
The physical wounds may not have been life-threatening, but tonight there is emotional trauma in this small Idaho town that never thought a school shooting would happen here.
Our hearts and our prayers go out to the victims and their families and all those involved. We prepare for it, but we're never truly ready for it.
The school staff member who was shot was treated and released. The 2 students are being held overnight for observation, but they are expected to be okay.
The teachers and the students, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
The physical wounds may not have been life-threatening, but tonight there is emotional trauma in this small Idaho town that never thought a school shooting would happen here.
Our hearts and our prayers go out to the victims and their families and all those involved. We prepare for it, but we're never truly ready for it.
The school staff member who was shot was treated and released. The 2 students are being held overnight for observation, but they are expected to be okay. They were shot in the extremities. The 6th grade girl could be charged with 3 counts of attempted murder. Earlier this afternoon, Ki-Fi News learned multiple agencies were searching the girl's home in Idaho Falls. By the way, the last school shooting in Idaho was 22 years ago when a 16-year-old boy opened fire inside the junior-senior high school in Notice. No one was hit in that shooting.
The first thing that comes to my mind when I heard about this story was bullying. That's the first thing that came to my mind was bullying. Because a lot of these stories that you hear when a young person goes into a school and do this, 9 times out of 10, or should I say a lot of the times, it got to deal with bullying. And y'all heard me say on my last couple of streams, if people not bothering you, then leave them alone. Because you don't know what them people going through. You don't know what's their mindset. You don't know anything. And sit up there poking a bear of somebody who's not bothering you, that is a bad thing to do. All right? But now that's what I'm thinking. This could be something totally different. It may not got anything to do with bullying. Who knows? Because they did say they don't know if them people was actually targeted. But when I hear stories like that, again, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Who fuck with them? Did they tell them to leave them alone? Did they tell the grown-ups, the teachers, the principals, did they tell them, and was nothing done? So what they did, what they feel like was in their mind, what was necessary to do. And that's, I guess, try to neutralize the situation themselves, since nobody else would do it. All right? Not saying that is right. I would never say that is right. But however, with a lot of stories like that, it comes from they feel like people don't listen to them when they actually are crying out for help. And we hear this a lot. So that's the first thing that came to my mind when I heard about this story. Now, of course, like I told y'all, they're not going to release the name of the person, probably because of the age and the grading and stuff like that. I guess unless they do get charged, maybe they will release the names. But I know with a lot of these stories, they minors, they will not release the name. So here's what it says that's happened with this story. And this was on May the 7th when I'm reading, so pretty much like 4 days ago. And it reads as follows. A 6th grade student opened fire in her Idaho middle school on Thursday, shooting 2 students and a custodian, according to authorities. All of the gunshot victims sustained non-life-threatening injuries and are expected to survive. The shooting occurred around 9:15 a.m. on Thursday morning when a student at Rigby Middle School in Rigby, Idaho, removed a handgun from her backpack and started shooting in the hallway, Jefferson County Sheriff Steve Anderson said at a press conference. A teacher was able to disarm the girl, but not before a gunfight struck 3 people, all of whom were shot in their limbs. Me and my classmate were just in class with our teacher. We were doing work, and then all of a sudden, here was a loud noise, and then there were 2 more loud noises. Then there was screaming. Somebody named Yandel Rodriguez. I guess that's the name. Yandel Rodriguez. It's a 12-year-old at the school. He said, our teacher went to go check it out, and he found blood. I was really scared. 6th grader Lucy Long told a local outlet. I almost started crying, but I was trying to help my other friends that were crying feel better. When police arrived at the scene, the students who had been placed in lockdown in their classroom were escorted out of the building to be reunited with their parents, and the girl who fired the shots was taken into custody. Meanwhile, the victims were transported to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center, where the 2 students were held overnight. While gun-related violence in schools has fallen amid the pandemic and a shift to remote learning, this incident is the 7th school shooting this year, according to Education Week's tally. Authorities are trying to understand how the girl got a hold of the gun, which is a good question, or what might have motivated her to open fire on her middle school, another good question. We don't have a lot of details at the time of why, Anderson said at the conference, knowing that authorities are following all leads. Once the investigation is complete, Jefferson County Prosecuting Attorney Mark Taylor told reporters that the girl could face possibly 3-count attempted murder charges. This is the worst nightmare a school district could ever face. We prepare for it, Jefferson School District Superintendent Chad Martin said, but you'll never truly prepare. All right. So that's what's going on with that story. You know, a young 6th grader, probably about the same age, 12 or 13 years old, came to school on whatever Thursday was they claimed it happened, which sounded like it was this past Thursday. Opened fires and hit 3 people. Thank God the 3 people survived. However, it's sad that you have a young one like that in the 6th grade, not high school. Not saying that high school be any different, but somebody young that's in 6th grade more likely probably lose a lot of time of their life in the juvenile system, or depending on how they charge this person. All right. So right now with this story, it's still fresh. So I try to keep updates on it and see what's going on with it and see what's going to happen to the young lady that did this. How sad. Wow. Middle school. How sad. Now on to the next story. Ladies and gentlemen, for this next story, I'm going to bring up this person. Ladies and gentlemen, the person that you're looking at right now is a 14-year-old boy out of Florida named Aiden Fucci, however you say that. I'm going to tell you what Aiden did. Aiden has been charged with the murder of the young lady that you see right here. Her name is Tristyn Bailey. Let me make sure I got that name right. Yes, her name is Tristyn Bailey. Tristyn Bailey was reported missing, and on Mother's Day, the young lady was found dead in a wooded area, and they have charged 14-year-old Aiden with her murder. Now this story is fresh. I mean fresh like we talk about 9, 10, and 12 hours ago. You know, so there's a lot they're gonna be coming at this story. But for now, I want to give you the meat and potatoes of the story because it is late and I ain't got time to be doing all that because I got to take care of some business in the morning. Well, later today or whatnot. But however though, I would probably try to do a live later on tomorrow this afternoon to catch up with this story about these two right here. So without further ado, another sad one. These young men, let's go.
Let's get right to that top story. We've just had the press conference live on our air. The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office says they have arrested a suspect in the death of 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey, whose body was found Sunday evening. 14-year-old Aiden Fucci was arrested on second-degree murder charges, and Bailey was last seen in the Durbin Croc.
Y'all know that she said 14-year-old? Same thing I'm saying. She said 14-year-old. 14-year-old. Same way I'm saying it. This is motherfucking ridiculous.
Amenity Center around 1 a.m. Sunday morning before the search was called off last night when deputies found her body. On your sides, Renata DiGregorio joins us live. She was there at that press conference. She has more for us. Renata, what's the latest?
Katie, that is the biggest takeaway right now. 14-year-old Aiden Fucci charged with second-degree murder when it comes to Tristyn Bailey. Now, they just wrapped up the press conference here at the sheriff's office where Sheriff Robert Hardwick was speaking about us. He says that Aiden is the only suspect, that the two went to the same school. Of course, we know that's Patriot Oaks Academy. They have extra grief counselors there today. Now, a lot of questions that we asked the sheriff, his only answer was that we're in the very early stages of the investigation. That's what when we asked where and how they were found, what led up to this, where they were before this. He said it's just the early stages right now. But he does say that they were found, that Tristyn was found in a wooded area, that she was clothed, that someone who lived in that area heard about what was going on and found her over by his subdivision, that is by Durbin Crossings. Now, we asked about conversations between Aiden and Tristyn and what the link is, and the sheriff says that just because something's on social media doesn't mean it's true, but he said that again, it's in the early stages. We also asked why second-degree murder, and he says that that's looking into the facts that they have right now. That's what they decided to go with, and he said that that can always go up, that they can always increase that. Now, he's not giving the cause of death and says that once the medical examiner completes what they have, they will share that with the family, and then they will decide if they're going to bring that back publicly and speak about what the cause of death is with the public. As for weapons, he says it's in the early stages, but he does say that justice is being served and does tell people who are angry especially to let it go through the process, that they are all working hard to investigate this. Now, if anyone else does have any information, they are still looking for people to come forward with them with this, so do contact police here in St. Johns County if you know anything. I'm Renata DiGregorio, live in St. Johns County. First Coast News, on your side.
An awful.
God damn, man. Boy, I tell you the truth, this young generation, I don't know what's in the cereal, I don't know what's in the soup, I don't know what's in the water, I don't know what's in the Kool-Aid, but there's a lot of shit that's going on here, man, and I wish I had the answers. I really wish I did. But unfortunately, I'm just a person who considered a broadcaster, podcaster, journalist, however you want to put it, you know, I'm that, whatever you want to call it. And to keep seeing stories like this with the young generation, man, this shit is sad. And, you know, again, like I said, I need to be in the bed, sleep right now. But, you know, these two stories just bother me. You know, sixth grader with a gun, you shooting people. Young man, 14 years old, already killing people and hiding bodies in the woods, you know. And then what makes this so crazy with this story, this young lady died on Mother's Day. Well, let me not say died on Mother's Day, but I guess everything was found on Mother's Day, you know. I mean, it's crazy, but again, like I said, this story is still fresh. I got to keep up with this too, and I think I do have a police conference, so if I get a chance to do a live later today, you know, I will do a live, and we're going to listen to the police conference and hear some more stuff that's going on about this story. But now, if you was to ask me, well, Chris, what do you think happened with this story? Well, if you want to judge the story on the surface, sound like to me this young man may have liked this woman. Excuse me. This young man probably had likings for this young lady. Didn't mean to call her a woman, young lady, however y'all want to call her. He had likings for this young lady. The young lady probably did not have mutual feelings. And with him, he probably went into a rage when she didn't have the same feelings that he did, you know. But that's if you ask me what I think is going on. Don't take my word for it. I mean, they're just assumptions. It's not accurate. But if it does come out of what it was, it's a jealous rage because she don't feel the same about him. I wouldn't be too surprised if that's how the story comes out to be, that he was upset because she did not like him the same as he liked her. And it's funny that I'm saying that because I had a conversation with somebody this past weekend and we got into a real deep discussion about that. You know, people have a mutual feelings for each other and how people take advantage of you, not only you, but they take advantage of your kindness. You know, pretty much to sell you wolf tickets, you know, and you got a lot of people that make you go through hoops and loops, you know what I'm saying, to, I guess, for you to show how you like them, why they not doing anything to show that they like you, you know. And we got into a heavy discussion about that. You know, it was a damn good discussion. And plus, you know, y'all know me, you know, I can speak on something like that because it has happened to me, you know, a few times in my lifetime, and just recently, really, back in 2019. But we're going to get into all that, you know. I think everybody know about that story and who all was involved in all that, you know. But, yeah, we're going to waste our time on that. But, you know, because I used to speak on relationships and stuff like that. I used to say how I feel about relationships, you know, and all this stuff. You know, it was good discussions. You know, people used to always like, you know, that's how you feel. You don't want to get a relationship, blah, 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 blah. But I never said what I did in them shows that I couldn't catch feelings for nobody. I never just said that, you know. So, anyway, but for somebody who has experienced a lot of stuff, or so to say, a lot of people who experience the shit in another stick, it would be more easier to talk about things like that, you know. So which goes back to this story right here. If I am correct, you know, then, you know, I can speak on it. Not why he killed her. Now, I mean, I don't kill nobody because they don't like me like that. But still, though, you know, it's something like this. You know, the young, you hear quite a few young generations that do this, and I hate that when they get older, you know, it would be even worse, you know. So I don't know what's going on with this, but with this story, guys, this story here is still fresh as well. So all I can say is stay tuned for updates on this one as well, and rest in peace to the young lady who has lost her life. I don't know, guys. I mean, there's something in the air. What's in the air? I have no idea, but this shit is getting out of control with the young generation. It's getting out of control. And I don't know what it is, but, you know, wow. Wow. But anyway, guys, as always, share your thoughts and your opinions about what you heard, and tell me what you think is going on, you know. Shit. That's all I can say about that. Y'all take care of yourself and each other, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.